if we were to go back a couple years in the Nutnfancy project timeline, at least at this point, we would be in the summer of 2011. That's when I reviewed the Christensen Arms CA-10 Recon. You'll see the video link at the top there. Check it out if you're interested in that rifle, the CA-10. Now, if price is any indication of two kinds of cool, as I talk about here in the project, specialness, then I think it's safe to say the CA-10 should be a pretty squared away AR-15, a perfected high-end AR-15, right? That's because, again, it's expensive. I mean, really expensive. Reference my 2011 review. I take to task Christensen Arms for the pricing on the CA-10, and I approached that review with a question. Is it worth the money? I can tell you right now, at least 10 TMPers bought the CA-10 off that video review because they've talked to me, both in person and online, and they're very happy with it. When I got the gun, still talking about the CA-10, back in 2011, since it was so expensive, I was expecting expensive premium performance in all the categories that count: accuracy, reliability, durability, and weight.
Targets are 115 yards.
I'm happy to report that in most respects, the CA-10 Recon delivered. Again, go check out that video. It was mostly reliable, almost 100%. I think there were a few bobbles. Maybe it was steel case. I forget. Honestly, it's been a couple years. Very accurate and very ergonomic and lightweight. The CA-10 Recon. I was aware of the CA-10, by the way, back in 2011, and I really debated doing a 2-for-1 review. CA-10 plus the AR-10 based, I'm saying AR-10, but you know what I'm talking about, CA-10, which is on the table, the big brother to the CA-10. So here we are, the CA-10 on the table. I have lots to talk about. It's going to be different than the CA-10 because it is a different rifle, obviously a different caliber. I call these rifles, if you haven't seen my other 308, I call them battle rifle reviews, maybe sappers. Well, there you go. I just threw out the acronym. I call them SAPRs, semi-automatic precision rifles. To me, that's a AR-15 base or another type of 308 semi-automatic rifle in at least 308 chambering. I call them sappers. Always have, long before the Nutnfancy project. A 223 or 556 precision AR-15 I call SPRs. I know, call me crazy, but I'm full of acronyms, as you guys know. I'm going to start off with making the case that this gun, the Christensen Arms CA-10, is definitely a sapper, a semi-automatic precision rifle, hands down. I've reviewed some very accurate semi-automatic 308 rifles. The FN comes to mind. Not the 17S, that other one. Yeah, that one. Very accurate with the right loads. Check this out. Now, don't get your hopes way up. I mean, you bolt gun guys go, hey, that's not that impressive. But look at the loads. Starting off with accuracy again, CA-10, this is in April 2013, as you can see. PMC 147 grain FMC out of this gun, which is a 16-inch barreled CA-10. We'll talk about the features, design, materials, ergonomics here in a little bit. There's a group out there. That's not too bad. You guys who have been watching the Nutnfancy project for a while know that if a rifle slings or shoots FMJ rounds well, which I consider that a great group, with PMC, not a very consistent round. I'm just saying, it isn't. If it shoots it into 1 MOA, that group is about 1.5 MOA. I'm pretty stoked. Pretty stoked, because that's the rounds you're probably going to have around. Now, if you're a reloader and you've amassed 168s, maybe a different load that you know shoots really well, more power to you. We'll talk more about reloading when we get to POUs. I'm pretty happy with that. Has that been matched or bested by other 308 rifles in the Nutnfancy project? Yeah, it has. It has. But it gets better. Check this out. Now I got into some more exotic loads. Not this one. This is American Eagle 150 FMJ. I think that was a pretty smoking group, and it was opened up by this. I felt really confident about my trigger pull, though. Really confident. If I don't, you'll see me make a note on my targets. I always have done that. But if I'm high confidence when this goes down, I'm going to blame either the wind, because it was very windy the day we shot, or, I don't know, me. Happens sometimes. I should say the gun. There's XM80. I don't know what Federal did to that XM load. The XM762 usually shoots a lot better. The XM80 that it was replaced by, 149 F&J, not so great out of most rifles. That is about a 3-inch group. Wah, wah. Fusion, come on down. That is a great shooting round, that 150 grain.
With the Christensen Arms CA10.
That's a good group. And now, again, we kind of see the trend of Flyer opening it up a little bit. There's Lake City 173 grain match, in case you're wondering. That's about, I didn't measure it, but 1.3 MOA. There you go. How's that? Last target. There are a couple others, but this gives you the gist. Here comes Federal Premium Bonded 165 grain shooting out of the Christensen Arms CA10. That's a great group. That's 3 rounds, not 2. 3 rounds. So I'm going to call that 3/4 MOA. Here's Atomic 168 grain match. That is a load mostly intended for M1 Grand M1A. That's looking good. And dudes, if you ever want to give me something for Christmas, I'm kidding. Give me 1,000 rounds of Hornady 308 150 grain, or better yet, 168 grain. Man, does that Hornady shoot good. It's just such consistent ammunition. I had you can see a 1-hole group going, opened up a little bit, and we can see that that again is a trend with this particular example of the Christensen Arms CA10. Look at that fusion. Oh, 1-hole group, 3 rounds. Hey, Nutnfancy, why don't you shoot 10 rounds? Because I can't afford it. There's your simple answer. That's why. 3 it is. That gives you a good idea. It's just a data point. That's all I'm providing. Remington core locked. That's a hunting load. So we'll talk a little bit more about hunting here in a little bit. There's an XM762 wide dispersion, kind of. I would say that's, you can see there, these are inch circles, or squares. I need to go back to kindergarten. Those are squares, nothing. Okay. 1 3/4, I don't know. And there's a Atomic 168 grain match. Kind of see 2 shots and then another one opening up a little bit. Very accurate is the bottom line with the right loads. If you hand loaded for the Christensen Arms CA10, I'm sure you could get about that if you're willing to make a project out of it. Okay? That barrel is match quality. It is wrapped in proprietary Christensen Arms CF, that is carbon fiber. They say it's going to last 20 to 25% longer than a regular bull barrel. It has all the rigidity of a bull barrel without the weight, which, trust me, we're going to really hammer home because it is a huge selling point on the CA10, just like it was the CA15 Recon. A very accurate rifle, more accurate than some of the others I've shot here. I would say on par. On par. The DPMS LR308, that FN shot really well. Heck, I've gotten some really good groups out of M1As, but I got to work really hard getting it out of that gun. It's just the way it is. That will take us to a very interesting, hopefully, discussion on philosophy of use. Now, Christensen Arms, like I said in the CA15 review in 2011, is mostly a hunting company. And I think the first guns they came out with were intended for the hunting market. Word to the industry, if you want to make more money, and Christensen clued in on this, make tactical rifles. Now all that can come crashing down after Firearmageddon, as we've seen, legislation, laws that are misdirected by the protectionist culture. We know that. But in normal times, a tactical rifle, if it's put together well, is going to sell like crazy. It's going to make money. Christensen clued into that. And they came out with the CA10, CA15 series to tap into it. And they're good guns. But at their heart, CA is a hunting company. And I think you could use this gun, the CA10, for any big game hunting. Okay, maybe not any. Most big game hunting. I think the 308 cartridge is a good all-arounder. It's great. As long as you keep your ranges reasonable, awesome. Is the CA10 my first choice if I'm going, I don't know, elk hunting? Probably not. I would go with a bolt gun, maybe even a single shot. Maybe even black powder these days. What? Did I hear you right? Yes, you did. I think if you're going to go hunting, you should shoot a single shot, maybe a bolt action rifle. There you go. You could slap a 5-rounder in here. We're talking philosophies of use again. CA-10 would rock and roll, no problem. How about a 308 battle rifle? I.e. a go-to-war 308 chambered rifle. Would this be a good choice? By the way, this is Cerakoted in green. Doesn't that look good? That is a good coloration Christensen put on that. Cerakoted in green. I really like that color. Well, let me say this. To really get to the bottom of that issue, whether any rifle is bet your life reliable, you're going to have to shoot it a lot. And I really think the best way to do it is in competition.
Just need to brush up on
and that's kind of another POU we'll discuss here in a second. Put lots of rounds through it.
I couldn't find it.
We put a fair amount. Run and gun action. Shooting steel, the crew and I, in dirty, dusty conditions. And from what I know right now, I would say, yes, it could qualify as a 308 battle rifle. Are there any surprises that are going to crop up and shock you on the CA-10? I don't know. And honestly, like I've said a lot in other reviews, how many rounds are you really going to shoot out of it? Not too many, says me, especially in 308 chambering. And that will take us to 3-gun / competition rifle, like I was saying a second ago. Great choice, bad choice. Well, if you need a 308 gun, I think it's a great choice. It is lighter than the competition, and some competitors may like that, some may hate it. It needs a comp on it. It needs a better trigger. Oops, I jumped ahead to Ergonomics. There you go. You can get 2 different triggers on it. I'll talk about the one that's on it now. You make those modifications, I think it'd be a great 3-gun.
I'm not sure what it is.
I really do.
It almost just looks
But
like a DNA
again,
sample.
everybody's so different with that. Some guys like a 10-pound rifle, so it's really stable. And they're not running that far with it. It's not integrated into a combat system, a loadout. I get it. A heavier rifle makes sense there. Another one, which is interesting, and guys will ask me this, is it a good recreation gun / 2 kinds of cool gun? I'm going to attack the last part. In other words, a range queen. Guys love that it is different. The CA-10 is not a gun you're going to see everywhere. Let me kind of hold it up here so you can take a look at it. It's not at your range probably. You'll see a couple here and there, not too many. I think guys, like a lot of things that I review on the table, will love it just for that. That it's cool because it is eclectic, different, special. They love that, and so they'll take it to the range, pop a few rounds out of it, get some really tight groups, go back, clean it, put it in the safe, and won't shoot it again for 5 years. Honestly, I think that's what most CA owners do with all their guns, except the bolt guns, like the Carbon Extreme 2, their other bolt guns. I reviewed that one too. Those guys, I think, are hunting with them. They want a lightweight gun. They know it's expensive, whatever, they put the use on it. As a recreational gun, I'm not so sure. Usually I would say not just no, but hell no. Remember the chambering, 308. Heck, these days I can't even find it to replace it for testing in the Nutnfancy project. No joke. I'm talking about bulk 308, and we go through hundreds, yes, even thousands of rounds of 308 testing these guns. I can't even replace it. When I can, it's extremely expensive. Yes, I buy it. No, I don't reload at this stage, usually. But Nutnfancy, I reload. I got lots of time. I say rock on. More power to you. Most of us don't. We buy it. So to recreationally go out and shoot it like we do and run and gun, going through hundreds of rounds at a time, most guys probably not. Their recreation will be going to the range, popping a few rounds, and if that's how you're using it, totally could do it. Would I use it, bottom line, philosophy of use, as a go-to battle rifle? Yes. If I had the money, I would feel not underarmed at all. In fact, I love the 308. Reference that FN review. I hammered that home, how I think the 223 is a pea shooter. Just saying, it is. Design, materials, quality, weight, balance, and feel. Let's talk about that weight. 7.1 pounds naked for the 16-inch barreled Christensen Arms. You can get it up to 24-inch barrel. I really wanted an 18 for testing, didn't get it. I got this 16. It's just over 16. And I really like, I've said this before in other reviews, the 18s on any sapper or SPR philosophy of use. And I kind of forgot to break that out specifically. That is a long-range precision 308 rifle, and this definitely qualifies.
Really surprised
So
we can't
is
hear
that
more
light?
audible
Yeah.
sounds
That
out
is
of
the
it.
lightest
500.
naked 308 semi-automatic rifle I've seen to date.
The wind to our back.
I was really hoping the industry would take off, come out with some competition for Christensen Arms, maybe drive the prices down on this gun. Hasn't happened. By the way, that's a
you hear that
Vulcan hit I had on the KTM dirt ride today. Big wipeout. Oh, dudes, I suck.
Yep, it's a choo-choo train.
But back to the rifle.
Shooters on.
Yeah, this is the lightest 308 rifle I've seen to date. 7.1 pounds again. Could run to about 7.5, maybe a little bit more depending on your barrel length, but that's dang light. Outfitted as you see it with a Nikon M308 scope, which by the way is good but not excellent. We found when we dialed the magnification up on the long shots, it grayed out on us. And eye relief became very critical. It is relatively lightweight, I think around 19 ounces. Comes with a mount. Am I running the Nikon mount here? Nope, I'm running the SPR mount. That's because this rail, by the way, the CA-10 has 20 MOA built in it, which I like. But if you put a 20 MOA rail on it, which the M308 comes with, you're in a world of hurt. Too much elevation. So the scope, decent. It worked great for the test. I'm probably not a fan specifically of the M308 for the record, though. And then you saw the Weaver SPR mount. This is a steel DPMS mag. I marked it factory just so we know which one came with the gun for testing purposes. No sling, no light attached. It is weighing 10 pounds, 2 ounces. There's the bottom line. Now, the interesting part on that, and you guys will dig this a lot, is the rifle is very light naked, right? But if I compare it against a Kel-Tec RFB, which, by the way, is 9 pounds, 4 ounces on my scale, with no accessories, no optics. But with this scope, the Burris 3x9, which we were whacking steel at 500 yards with, incidentally. Yeah. It's 10 pounds, 6 ounces. So only 4 ounces more than the Christensen Arms CA-10. And that's sporting a LaRue LT-158 mount, a thermold. We're saving weight with this polymer magazine, by the way. 20 rounder, and a sling. No light. So that's kind of trippy to me. They're essentially the same weight, these two rifles, and worlds apart in cost. I know, I can't find a Kel-Tec, Nutnfancy. I know, tell Kel-Tec. It's got issues. Tell me all about it. Generally, though, the CA-10 weight-wise is setting standards, and I really, really love that. If I put more judicious glass on this, like that Burris, I mean, we'd bring the weight down to 9 pounds something. Yeah, and by the way, the weight that I gave you is not with the steel magazine, it's with this one, the PMAG 20 in it. This is coming from, that's Duracoated in that freaking cool Desert Predator that we did. That's coming from the LR308. Design, materials, and quality. We talked about the barrel already. Okay, it's a stainless steel insert. It works. I think it dissipates heat quickly. I talked about that in the CA-15 Recon review. Is it better than a steel barrel? I think so. I think so. You would have to do some very specific scientific tests, seeing what type of, I don't know, deviation you're getting as the barrel heats up. I did not really do that. Although in those accuracy tests, I am not letting the barrel cool down. I just rock and roll, guys. That's just how it goes. Shoot, 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 shoot. I didn't clean the barrel prior to accuracy testing. I didn't clean or lubricate the rifle prior to any testing. Now, you'll have two choices of muzzle devices direct from Christensen Arms, at least. That's a flash hider made out of titanium. It is proprietary. They have a muzzle brake also, and I kind of wished we went with that one because we found this one didn't really do either task well. No compensation, and it really didn't do that great in flash hiding either. What it really needs is probably a Battlecomp 762 or the outstanding Griffin Armament high value 762, muzzle brake. And then we're in business because this lightweight rifle, the lightweight barrel, it is popping up, little recoil impulse, and then it'd be good to go. I love the barrel, and I talked a lot with Heath at Christensen Arms a couple days ago, and he says this CF is very tough. They've had no problems with it, nor on the handguard. So if you guys are wondering, hey, if I nick that, is it going to come unraveling? They don't see any issues. Keep in mind what I said about Christensen Arms CA-15 and CA-10 owners, and this is just what I'm saying. because I don't think a lot of them see a lot of hard use. So I don't really know if the data's out there. That is an Adams Arms gas block proprietary to the CA-10.
Like it definitely has much
It's lightweight, double clamping. You can see it's excellent. You can't go get it, again, proprietary. How about the handguard? No issues. It is slender. And another thing you're going to see when we talk about competitive options is every other 308 battle gun has that antiquated, if I can speak, quad rail. I hate quad rails. You don't use all that space back here. This is a much better design. You can throw on mini rails if you want. You can see you got Picatinny on the top, Picatinny on the bottom, so you can put your tripod here. We did that with the CA-15. And ventilation on the top here. I think the rail is awesome. I'm not a huge fan of CF for looks. I'd rather, I don't know, Cerakote or Duracoat that. My mileage. That's just, can't speak. That's just me. Free floated, as you can see, on the CA-10. Make sure I'm not lying. No, that's correct. Good handrail. No twisting problems noted. This is a billet receiver. 7075 T6, not forged. The best I can ascertain. Did you guys know that Christensen Arms started off making aircraft parts, and currently their subsidiary, make sure I get the name right, is ACT, and they still make carbon fiber parts for the AH-64 Apache. Speaking of the military, everything used is just top grade, including, and I know a lot of you guys really dig billet, the receiver. The receiver, I'm talking lower to upper receiver fit, is phenomenal. No movement whatsoever. You don't need an AccuWedge in it. It's excellent. Flared trigger guard. We're kind of talking about ergonomics here. I love that. You can't put another one on though. If you really wanted to, you just can't. That's a Hogue pistol grip that comes with the CA-10. I think you have a couple other options on it. So that's cool. Let's talk about the trigger, I guess, right now. That's a Timney trigger, and it pulls at about 4.5 pounds, and none of us liked it.
Needs a good muzzle.
That surprises me, actually. I thought we would. Seriously. I usually like Timney triggers, but when we're shooting at 508 yards with this thing, we're like, we were connecting. No problems, but both of us, PFI dude and myself, were like, I'm not digging that trigger, dude. And we got lots of trigger time on all kinds. I would probably opt for a replacement. Now, I don't know if it's more cost effective with going with the Geisley, which is offered as an option to the CA-10. You could. It's going to add a lot of cost. You might do it on your own, or there's a really sweet trigger out now, the AR-15 Gold. That's awesome. I love the Chip McCormick's. Those have been really good. And I think I've shot CMMG. That, component trigger one. That's been good. There's a lot of trigger options out there. But for what I do, I'm not happy with that Timney. I would not recommend it. Just saying. Just saying. There is no forward assist on this. Thank heavens. Who needs a forward assist? Seriously, when's the last time you used one? Oh no, here comes a comment. Dude, I used it in 3-gun. I totally needed it. No, I don't like it. I'm glad they admitted it. It's not a military spec weapon. Thank heavens again. There's your mag release button. No surprises there. It's gated as per the billet machining process. Ejection port cover, no surprises there. We'll get into the internals here in a second. I like this. The flared takedown pins, those are Christensen Arms proprietary. This will give you a look on the front of the lower receiver as well. Those are excellent. Really easy to take this gun apart. That is a BCM gunfighter charging handle. I love those. Very strong. You need a charging handle like this because, man, that spring is stiff in the CA-10. I mean, really stiff. When I was at the range, I was like struggling sometimes. Even out in the desert, we were like, man, is this thing, what's with it? And we really had to yank it back to charge it. It's got a stiff spring in it. Maybe we're just, I don't know, wussies. Probably, no doubt. How about this? The bolt release is an extended paddle. That's proprietary to Christensen Arms. I think they do have a variety of those. Standard AR-15 safety. No surprises there. Love the looks of that Cerakote. It's very cool. By the way, they do offer a multitude of colors. They will add cost. Anything you do out of the norm is going to make this gun even more expensive. You got this one, green. There's natural gear gray. And thank heavens they just added flat desert earth. I asked them back in 2011 to run FDE, and they finally did it. I don't think it's shown on the website. And there's some really goofy frankly offensive camouflage patterns that you can cover your gun in. I don't know if I'd do that. I wouldn't do it at all. If you haven't figured it out, by the way, this is a direct gas impingement gun, not a piston, and I'm glad for it. Stepping in the, the footsteps of the AR-10. I like DI. Reference my video, philosophy-wise, back, I think 2010, piston versus DI, the dilemma. I love DI. It's not broken, and sure enough, in the last few years, we've seen DI guns resurge in popularity. I laugh. I just think it's so funny. The tactical community, they designate what's proper, what's right, and then next thing we know, oh, wait, we were wrong. Don't get me wrong, lots of great piston guns out there. We're going to talk about some, competitive options, like the H&K MR762, that's a piston gun. LMT MWS, another piston gun. Great guns. But DI is not broken. It works great. You're going to have to clean it one way or another. One way or another. How about we break inside if I don't screw this up too much. Magazine out. By the way, we ran DPMS magazines and PMAG magazines, and they worked good. There is a caveat, though. I had one DPMS magazine that would not retain. This was at the range. You'll see the footage of that. So I'm shooting the gun, concentrating on the target. Bam, goes off. Next thing I know, click, nothing. What happened? Magazine dropped out. Well, did you make sure it was in? Yes, I did. Several times, in fact. And then lo and behold, that particular magazine would not retain. Don't know why. I would look at it, compare it dimensionally against this one that the gun shipped with. I couldn't see any issues. Good news is, with the PMAG 20s we ran in the combat drills, no problems at all. They retained fine. Just passing on a little data point for you. All right, so we're going to break inside the CA-10. And you're going to see quality inside the gun, just like you see on the outside of the gun. And again, we would expect it to be quality, right? It's pretty darn expensive. BCM gunfighter, charging handle once again. And there's your bolt carrier group. Nickel boron coated. And it is excellent. Very easy to clean, I noted. This is cleaned after all our shooting. This gun's going back to Christensen Arms. Very awesome, like it. Not really super staked on the gas key, in case you're wondering. There's the front face, the ejector. Very AR-10-like. There's the underside of the bolt carrier group, in case you're wondering about that. Taking a look at it. Several hundred rounds shot through this one so far. If we look in the feed ramps, they're pretty standard. I wouldn't say you have M4 feed ramps there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, gun's coated on the inside as well. Overall, quality, and I would expect as much. I did note also the gas rings they use on the interior are the spiral kind, so I prefer those, so you don't have to worry about, I don't know, gas leakage. Good job, Christensen. High-end AR-15 delivering. That is refreshing. Talking about ergonomics, it does not come with sights, as you can see. Let's put this magazine in. I would laugh if it fell out. Turn it upside down. Boom! Falls out. That sucks. No sights are included. It's intended to run with an optic. Maybe going back to the Christensen Arms hunting heritage. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You can obviously put some battle sights on. I'm talking the Troys, which I still just love. The best ever. Use the Nutnfancy code. Nutnfancy if you go there. 10%! I didn't measure the extension tube, so I'm sorry. I should have. I don't know if it's mil-spec or commercial, but who cares? Really, does it really matter? They're both the same as long as you use a high-grade component on it. And I asked them, what are you guys using for brand? I think they said DPMS receiver tube. Not sure. It's not staked, as you can see, to the castle plate. The castle nut staked to the plate there. I prefer that, by the way. I know some of you guys don't. You really want to stake it, but if I ever want to put a single point sling on it, I need to take the tube off for maintenance for an upgrade or something. I like the option. I just make sure it's cranked and torqued on properly. This is the Magpul STR stock, and I love it. There are several options that you can choose from. They have ACE, SOCOM, ACS, CTR available too, and it'll probably change. I would recommend this one. It's the first time I actually shot with this one, and it gives such a good cheek weld. And the bonus is this little compartment here, this thing pops off and you can put your Tic Tacs in there. How cool is that? It's pretty cool, Nutton. Yeah, I know. I like it. So that's a lowdown on the features review. Firepower is AR-10 standard. I think we covered that pretty well. No issues at all with the thermal. I was going to say thermal mold, the PMAG 20s. That's my preferred magazine for the system because it is a lightweight gun, and I want to do everything in my power to keep it that way. However, I've had great luck with the DPMS mags as well. I think there's some other brands out there, like C products or something like that. Reliability and durability. All right, here's a negative. At the bench, I noticed several rounds failed to eject when I first started shooting the gun. You'll see the footage on that, perhaps, if I can find it. So the gun, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, did it eject? Did it not eject? I think I had to pile drive the SOB a couple times to get the round out, and I did that. So I was a little bit worried. It is a match grade barrel, and it may have match chambering to go with it. I forgot to ask, by the way. Christensen, so sorry. It is a 308, not 7.6251 chambering, in case you're wondering. I showed you loads of both in the accuracy portion of this video. Might be a little bit tight chambered, so if you're reloading, keep that in mind. You're going to have to do a full case sizing, and then still you may have some problems. We've seen that here in TMP with several guns. If they're really tight chambers, you're going to have some issues. It's best just to go with factory loads. Don't know why. Overall, though, it was excellent. Once I got past that and we went into practical testing of the CA-10, it rocked. We were both impressed with it, so it was 100%. There you go. Reliability and durability, again, I'll say, are you in for surprises? Who knows? Field strip I did, accessories. Most of those are going to come from Christensen. I didn't really investigate the possibility of swapping out the handguard, if that's what you really wanted to do. But check this out. The gun's expensive. Why would you buy a gun with this expense and say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and swap the handguard out? I think that is foolish money if you're doing that. Just accept it or get something else. Spend your money wisely. Yeah, so I don't know. Obviously, this is AR-15. AR-15 triggers AR-15. You can swap in whatever you want. Picatinny rails, AR-15, muzzle brakes, standard 7.62 threading. Most of it is going to open a huge variety of accessories if and when you want to upgrade your Christensen Arms CA10. And now we get to cost. How about $3,500 starting price for the CA10? Now, if you're gasping, check this out. You might want to not gasp because that is a going rate for most 308 battle rifles. All right, not most, some 308 battle rifles. Witness, for instance, the LWRC Reaper, which is a piston gun, by the way. Now, this is all after Firearmageddon, all the stuff I've talked about. That is the end of 2012 and all the ridiculous gun laws where driving prices up, availability's down. That gun, though, the Reaper will run $3,500 to $4,200, and it's 9.5 pounds naked. So it's 2.4 pounds heavier than this gun, and it's just as expensive, the LWRC Reaper. Okay, you can get it with a 20-inch barrel, and that's going to push it to 11.5 pounds. Ouch. That's not cheap. Colt 901 at 9.4 pounds. That's kind of a heavy rifle, too. I think it's... cost-wise, I didn't write it down, but it's not going to be as high as a Christensen. It's going to be less. But it's more of a basic AR-15 style Colt gun. I don't know if you could classify that as a sapper high-end gun. Okay? We're talking about how some others are going to be just as much. These days, an FN-17S is going to be around $3,000. All subject to change. That's a great gun, by the way. 17S. That's a 16-inch barreled, piston-driven 308 battle rifle sapper. We've shot that a lot here in TMP. One of these days I'll have to review it. Great gun. I wish it was an 18-inch barrel. It's not as light as a CA-10, but apparently it's darn near as expensive. You've got the Rock River Arms LAR-8 DPMS LR308 reviewed heavily here in the Nutnfancy project. That's going to be a lot less expensive than the Christensen Arms and a lot heavier, to be honest. Smith & Wesson M&P 10, I guess, is out. Kind of a standard AR-10 style of weapon. Talked about the LMT MWS 308 piston rifle. That's going to be around $3,000. Maybe less, maybe more. So that's getting close to the CA-10 price. Kel-Tec RFB. I think these days, Firearmageddon days, around $2,000 if and when you can find this outstanding bullpup 308 battle rifle. I don't know if it's a sapper. It's not that accurate. I'm just going to call this a battle rifle. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot less expensive than the CA-10. Which one would you prefer, Nutnfancy? Which one would you think? You're right, RFB. What? I can't believe you said that. Well, I said it.
I don't like the RFB.
So short, compact, all the stuff I talked about in the Tavor review, dudes. And then you got the H&K MR762, 10 pounds naked. It's a piston rifle, totally overrated, just like all things H&K, and overpriced. Now, don't get me wrong, the CA-10 is astronomically priced, and if you go for upgrades, I'm talking Cerakote finishes, Geisley trigger, this, that, it can go into 4,000 plus. That's just the way it is. They've carved a niche out for themselves. I'm talking about Christensen Arms, and they've done a great job with it because they cannot keep these freaking guns in stock. I'm talking the CA-15 and the CA-10. And I think my review on the CA-15 helped a little bit, says Christensen. Not just a little bit, a lot. They sold a lot of those guns. And I think the CA-10 is selling like crazy. They can't keep it in stock. Who's buying them? Who has, I don't know, let's just say $4,300 for a Christensen Arms CA-10. Who's buying them? Well, you'd be amazed how many guys have money out there and they want a gun like this. Safe queen, recreation queen, second kind of cool type of gun, whatever, they're buying them. They're buying them. I would say performance-wise, just like the CA-15 Recon, this gun delivered. It delivered. Yes, there were some weird things at the beginning. I'm talking about the failures to extract, if memory serves correctly. I test a lot of guns. Sometimes I get the details wrong. That was weird. The magazine dropping. That was weird. The trigger, it's not like horrible, but it's not like premium.
One more.
It just doesn't match the rifle. An AR Gold would match this rifle. But other than that, the gun shot very accurately. It was a dream to shoot, and that's without a dedicated muzzle brake.
Sounded like a hit.
Running the CA titanium flash hider. If we had a muzzle brake, dudes, oh, man, this thing would have been a dream. PFI dude and I were saying that all along. I was like, man, I wish we were braked on this thing. It would just rock. We could have done some real fast speed drills. And you do need that on the 308. I don't know if I mentioned, by the way, the other chamberings. 308 is the standard. I recommend that one. Then you have 6.5 Creedmoor. I love that caliber. Why? Because it's so flat shooting, the Creedmoor, and it's soft, it's easy, you don't have throat erosion. You're going to have to reload for that one for sure. You just can't afford to go out and buy Creedmoor. And I think I said 243. There might be a couple more I forgot. Their top runaway favorite, again, is the 308. Obviously. So, I recommend it. Premium performance, yeah, I would say so. It is surprising that outfitted the way we got it right here. It's about the same weight as the RFB. I think I made that case. That surprises me. I thought the gun would come in, I don't know, 9.5 pounds. This scope may have had something to do with it. By the way, that Weaver SPR mount, that's a 0 MOA mount. It's good, it's high value. Recommended, and it's not that heavy. I think it's only like 6.5 ounces. So that's not the problem. Remember, no sling, no light on it. I recommend it. You know, would I recommend it over the other 308 battle rifle sappers that I've reviewed to this point? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. But I think you're going to be happy with it. Keep in mind, it may have a tight chamber, and it may be load specific to get this kind of accuracy out of it. Okay, there you go. It's a great gun. Good job, Christensen Arms, for making an American-made, high-grade AR-10 style of sapper. That's it. That fancy review. I'm going to go put on a Band-Aid right now. See ya.